Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Long, here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are in gorgeous Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, and we are kicking off a very special episode for us today. It's episode 1 of season 4.
Yay.
For the Unscaled Travel Show. Our silly little travel show has entered into its 4th season.
Silly little award-winning travel show.
That is darn right. And, you know, I think we have an interesting way to kick off this brand new season. You know, we love our national parks and we love visiting. And anytime we get to check off a new one is a good time for us.
Yeah. And you even have the water bottle that has all the little stickers. So you can put a new sticker on for everyone. I know people have probably seen it, but we love this thing.
You know, I'm a sucker for kitschy little like merchandise like that. So I got it a couple years ago. But I recently bought you one because you were very jealous of my water bottle. But yours is what
mine is the states in the U.S.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of fun little things like that. And you know, we are over the years we've transitioned into like road trip people. Neither one of us really, as kids growing up, we didn't really take a whole lot of road trips.
No.
And, you know, it was about jet setting and flying around there for a long time for us. And that's still fun. We still do that.
Yeah, we still enjoy that.
But we have gotten definitely more into road trips and, you know, packing the dog up with us, especially as our kids have gotten older, and just hitting the road. And not too long ago, we got to head to Colorado for a bit and check out the beautiful Mesa Verde National Park. And I believe, and I don't say this lightly, I believe it's one of those really underrated parks. Because you don't hear too much about it.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those parks, like Mesa Verde gets around 500,000 visitors every year, which is a huge number. But when you compare it to a Yellowstone or a Yosemite that literally see millions and millions and millions of visitors, and do you know our most popular national park? Sees the most real quick?
Yellowstone.
Great Smoky Mountains.
Really?
They actually see about 13 or 14 million visitors every single year.
Fun fact for the day.
Absolutely. So in this episode, we're going to put together a clear first-time visitor guide to Mesa Verde in Colorado. We'll try to cover how the park is laid out, what to book and pay for in advance, the best scenic overlooks, or our favorites anyway, the best trails and cliff dwelling experiences, which there are many, worth prioritizing, and the most practical options for lodging, camping, and food inside the park. And some clever ways you can maybe, you know, save some money by not eating inside the park.
Right.
By the end, hopefully you'll have a simple plan that you can follow, whether you're visiting for one day or building onto a longer trip.
Yeah, I think for us, well, I'll be very honest. This isn't a national park I ever think about. And if you asked me to name all the ones I could name, it would not have popped up on my radar prior to our trip. Yeah. And we weren't even intentionally going to Mesa Verde. We were driving from another state national park through Colorado when we just happened to look up and see the sign, oh, Mesa Verde, next exit. And it's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
We severely underestimated how much time we needed there. And I think that's where this whole episode comes from, because had we known, I feel like we would have stayed in the area and gone a couple of days to see everything that's there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those parks that you need more than just a quick couple of minutes or an hour. Because we had that thought, like, oh, let's just drive through and maybe just do the scenic route, stop at the visitor center, and then we'll head out or whatever.
Right.
That's not the plan. And we'll tell you why. Okay. One, you know, we mentioned that it's not a quick stop. It's a full commitment to you, because the park experience is really built around driving up onto the mesa. That's the mesa and the Mesa Verde part, right? Which means is Spanish for the green table. Okay. So, or the big green table in this instance. And then from the mesa, you move between these overlooks and trailheads and a few main hubs of, you see the cliff dwellings and things like that. People like us underestimate that and end up doing a rushed version, which kind of feels like just checking off a list more than anything else. But the park is designed in such a way, the roads are just 2-lane roads. Some areas, it's like a 1-lane road. So you can't get to a lot of places quickly because it's so big. It's so spread out. And there's really one road in, one road out kind of thing. And especially if you get on these trail loops, like the car trail loops, it's one way.
Yeah.
And so once you commit to it, you got to stay on this loop. And we were there on it is decidedly less busy day.
Yeah.
So I can imagine during peak season how packed it would be.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how much traffic would actually back up.
It's going to take you some time because when we pulled in and we went to the station to show them our America the Beautiful pass and be let in, you asked the guy, you said, we only have a couple of hours. What's the first thing we should go do? And he's like, just get on this road and keep going. And in 45 minutes, you'll come to some of the cliff dwellings. And it was like 45 minutes just to get there. I had no idea this park was that big.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I didn't even take into account, the different areas where you're going uphill and the road narrows and it's just, the natural slowdown points of this park. But when he was like 45 minutes, I was like, okay, well, maybe that's to the most exciting part. Maybe we won't make it back there. And then 20 minutes in, we've passed a couple of overlooks, but we're still climbing in altitude. And I'm like, oh, this is like, we're going to be here.
We're driving up into.
We're going to be here. Yeah. And that's, again, partly our fault. That's just being naive about it. And others is, I go back to, you don't hear much about it.
You don't know.
And I know our National Park Services are seemingly always under attack for funds. It doesn't matter who's in charge of our country. That seems like one of the first things everyone does is like, oh, our national parks, they got $1. We're going to strike that down to 90 cents. And so they can't really advertise. But this one, I've been to more than a few national parks now. Backpacked in Yosemite and, driven through Yellowstone and all of that. Mesa Verde is so beautiful. And it gives you some views that it looks like a painting.
It does.
And we'll get into the overlooks that we found.
But it's unique. It's one of those national parks that there's more than just views. There are actually other historical things to see. And it's something that's you're not going to see many other places. So this park is unique in what it offers you. And as we pulled in, I very naively asked you, like, what's so special about this place? And we quickly found out.
Yeah. It's things like not even knowing going in that it's a UNESCO heritage site because it protects ancestral Pueblo sites and landscapes. And this is where, we talked about these cliff dwellings. This is where they built their entire lives like a civilization and their towns and important buildings into the side of cliffs, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And now these things are, so many of them just perfectly preserved.
Yeah.
And it meant so much, not only to those people, but to the surrounding areas. So it's not only this beautiful place where you can go take some really wonderful pictures. You're also going to, get into the cultural side and, more into the landscape and everything else than you really expect when you first get there. So our plan today is hopefully guide you through a little bit and prepare you. So you're better prepared than we were going in. Because now, you do it and you're like, I feel like a pro now. But when we first started,
we had no idea.
So keep it right here. When we come back, we're going to have some know before you goes to get you started. Overlook experiences, all of that coming up on Scale Travel Show. Keep it right here.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
Check us out online. Please do. unscaledtravelshow.com. Both for our past episodes and interviews, which most of our episodes, we like to think are evergreen. We think they live in your soul, just constantly bearing fruit if you consume them. I don't know what that was. But also, if you go online, go to YouTube, search for us, Unscaled Travel Show. You'll see something decidedly different tales from our trips that we find and uncover. It's a lot of fun, kind of gaining momentum.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting stuff that we come across. These aren't stories you usually find in the brochures.
No. This is unique history.
Yeah. So we have fun. We are talking, though, about Mesa Verde National Park, kicking our 4th season off with a new national park for you to consider. It's one of those parks that is gorgeous, 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 but it's underrated, I believe. And so now we're going to look at some know before you goes, and we kind of mentioned a couple of them, but let's kind of walk through what needs to be handled ahead of time, right? Because national parks, again, sometimes it's hit and miss with different things like cell phone service, Wi-Fi areas, different things like that, which is especially, I guess it's one of those special things because most of the national parks are converting or already have converted to cashless operations. So you need your debit card and Apple Pay and things like that. They accept it all, but sometimes in some remote areas, it gets a little iffy when it comes to cell phone service. It might take a minute. So this is one of those unique parks where, and I think Glacier National was another one that had this issue, but like digital passes, if you book a cliff experience, a cliff tour, or even your entrance passes or anything like that, it's not just enough to sometimes be like, oh, okay, I'll pull it up once I get there. Mm-hmm. You might not have the cell phone service.
Right.
So it's a good idea to remember when you're going there, maybe screenshot it.
Yeah.
Or if you're old school, if you're the Rand McNally generation, no shame, but you might want to print it out at home. Remember MapQuest?
I do remember MapQuest, yes.
You would print out 18 pages.
That you had to read while you were driving.
Yeah.
Because that was safe.
That was just for us to get to the other side of Houston, too. But you would print that out. So it might be a good deal to print things out, screenshot it, whatever you do before you get there.
Yeah.
Because it might get a little dicey once you're inside.
We found a lot of the parks that are a little more remote do have connectivity issues, and we've seen some where the lines to get into the park are backed up because people are trying to pay with the debit card, and the service is so slow. You're just sitting there waiting. We have our America the Beautiful Pass, so all we have to do is show it along with your ID and we get right in. But some parks do also still have a timed entrance, so that's something to be aware of also before you show up, is finding out the specifics for that park. I think with Mesa Verde they no longer do a timed entrance, but I would say it's a good idea to pre-plan your trip, because some of the experiences, like you said, you do have to pay in advance. You can't just sign up for it there. So you'll want to go on there, decide which of the tours you want to take, and if it's something that you need to sign up for early. Yeah.
We mentioned the America the Beautiful Pass, which is something that we get every single year. It's $80, but it covers every national park and a lot of other experiences as well. A lot of like different parks at different levels. You'll just have to go online and check which ones you're trying to get into or whatever. But the entrance fees for national parks are changing in 2026.
They are.
And people need to be aware of it for better or worse, right? So we pay $80 as citizens of the United States, and we get this pass. You can still buy this pass if you're not a citizen of the United States, but it's going to be
It's more expensive.
Decidedly more.
Yes, it is more expensive. It shows that it's going to up to $250 for non-residents. Uh-huh. That's $250 US. And that certain days that are free entrance days to U.S. citizens will be blacked out for non-U.S. citizens to arrive. So if you're traveling here during a U.S. holiday, you may not have access to national parks if you're not a resident.
Yeah.
Mesa Verde is not on this other list, but there is a list of about a dozen of our biggest national parks that even if you have America the Beautiful Pass, or if you're just paying a one-time entrance fee, there is also going to now be a non-resident fee on top of that for these specific parks. I think it's probably to try to combat some of the over-tourism in these more popular parks like Yosemite and Glacier.
Yeah.
But just be aware, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you need to go check out the MPS website for that specific park and see what the fees are going to be if you're allowed to go in on certain days.
I would say definitely if you're a U.S. citizen, if you plan on visiting more than one national park within a calendar year, it's worth
it. Pays for itself.
It pays for itself. If you're maybe you're over here on vacation or holiday and you have a month and you're driving around, I think it's still worth it. It's going to save you money in the long run.
Because I think the regular entrance fee for Mesa Verde was $30 a car.
Yeah. $30.
Yeah. So, I mean, if for a U.S. citizen to get an America the Beautiful Pass is $80 for a year and you have access to every national park, every national monument, all that, it pays for itself.
Yeah. Definitely what you should book in advance, the cliff dwelling tours. These are ranger-led tours. We talked about the cliff dwellings for the ancestral pueblos. These are beautiful structures, and it's a wonder to see them from afar, which a lot of the overlooks you'll stand across from them like a valley or whatever. And it's a wonder to just behold them from across the valley. But these ranger-led tours are the only way you can get up close to things like the cliff palaces and the different structures like the balcony house.
There were so many.
Yeah, there were so many. The square tower house and all kinds of stuff. But you have to book those in advance, and reservations are only available 14 days in advance. So if you know you're going to Mesa Verde, which you should, you need to mark it on your calendar, 8 a.m., 14 days in advance. That's when the ticket for that is going to go on sale. And once they sell out, and they don't do tons of tickets for these events.
They don't. And tours are not available year round either.
No.
They're only available between May 4th and October 19th.
Yeah.
So, and some of the spaces even have even smaller limited time. So
absolutely.
Again, you need to go to the website if you're going so you can determine what's going to be open while you're there. And if you do need to pre-purchase your tour tickets.
Yeah.
Which we did not do that. So we didn't get to go on any tours, but unfortunately
they were
it was
closed.
outside the season.
We couldn't do it. It was outside the season. And finally, last thing, altitude dehydration, right? You're going to go up, up, up. So make sure you drink your water, and on sunny days, bring your sunscreen and all that stuff. If you're a fair maiden, you burn easily. You want to do that. Unscaled Travel Show. Keep it right here. We're going to have more.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com. We're talking about Mesa Verde National Park. Trying to give you a first-time visitor's guide. Some of the stuff we did, some of the mistakes to avoid, things like that. And now, like any of our great national parks, Mesa Verde has miles of trails for those that like to walk around in the woods. Our friend John would just have a field day, right? It's not in the sense of, I think, Yosemite or Glacier that have these like endurance trails basically that are like 50 miles long. Although there are a few, and they, like any park, have degrees of difficulty. Things you should consider. Kind of another know before you go. The accessibility of the trails. especially if you do one of these like cliff dwelling tours with the rangers and things like that. There are parts of those trails where you're going into the palaces and the different things that are built into the side of these stone structures. Like you have to climb ladders, and that's like part of the experience. So just go online, check it all out before, if you have mobility issues or accessibility issues, they're happy to accommodate.
Right.
And one trail walking down, I think by the Mesa Verde Museum, that's further into the park where the ranger station is and where you'll get your first glimpse of the cliff dwellings. It had an accessibility ramp all the way down. So, you know, people, if you're in a wheelchair or things like that, you can get down there and see from a distance, which is, I mean, it's practically up close to it.
It did. I will say that the ramp was steep. It was very steep.
Check your brakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind because you are descending from the top down, so you get a better view of these cliff dwellings.
Yeah. For instance, like the Cliff Palace has ladders and uneven steps, and the tour is about 45 minutes long. So the up and down kind of surprises people. Also, the balcony house involves the ladders we were talking about, exposed climbing, and a narrow tunnel. So also, if you don't like being in confined spaces, it's not like, you know, it's not like cave diving or what those insane people do. Okay. But it is a narrow tunnel. So it's just like, know before you go online, check it out, what they say, you know, so you can plan appropriately for you. There are a lot of easy, and then we unexpectedly went on some easy hikes because some of the house dwellings, the ancestral Pueblo dwellings that they've uncovered and that are open for people are actually sit on what they would consider trailheads. And so, like once you get into the park, when you get to, what is it, the Far View area, I believe is like the Far View ruins and things like that. It's technically a trail, and it was very easy kind of walking around.
Yeah, it was that one. I would say I wouldn't really consider it a trail. I mean, we parked and it was relatively flat, and there was just different areas of dwellings that you could walk between. We did think that it was going to be a little bit closer from one to the other, so I guess it is technically a trail, but maybe not even a 10-minute walk from one little village to the next, but very easy walk. I wouldn't call it hiking. It was more just a little walk.
I mean, that's some people's version of hiking. I mean, that was just enough for me. That was a 10-minute hike to from the Far View house to the Coyote Village. And it went through the woods, so you felt like you were doing something.
Which, totally worth it. Totally worth the walk.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. And it's they have fun little adventures once you get there, too, like finding the petroglyph rocks that, you know, the Puebloans like carved into the side and everything. And, you know, like you said, you can get out, stretch your legs a little bit, learn some stuff, learn some good things, and then get back in your car. That's my type of hiking right there.
Well, the other one I wanted to do was the Cliff House trailhead that takes you from that overlook, which is next to the museum you were mentioning, and down much closer to the actual Cliff House dwelling. But because we were there in the off season, unfortunately, the trail was closed, but we were reading about it. We didn't realize it was closed at first. And it did say it was over 2 miles, and it's quite a descent. Not a problem going down, more of a problem coming up. So keep that in mind if you don't do a lot of hiking. Elevations, walking 2 miles flat is one thing. Walking 2 miles down, then back up, totally different experience.
Yeah. And like the down is fun. Like you can just, you know, sit on your side and have someone roll you. And like, that's fun. You can do that. But like coming back up, if you're not used to it, that moderate hike, you know, just being on the level with people, but that moderate hike, when you're going a mile up,
right,
you make you want to not come back to a national park. You get tired of it. You'd have a bad experience.
I think too, this is another one that would totally be worth it, but you just have to be in the proper shape to do it.
Yeah. There's also one, like we didn't go on, because again, like being there in the off season is a little bit different. You need to plan ahead the best you can because a lot of trails are closed. A lot of the facilities are closed, things like that. But They do have some challenging hikes as well if you want to test your body, I guess, not if you're one of those people. But the Petroglyph Point Trail is beautiful, they say, but it demands your respect because it's about 2.5 miles round trip, which isn't a lot for a whole lot of people, but it has a bunch of narrow sections, rock scrambling, steep drop-offs. Okay, so all on this trail, and a lot of people they swear by it. They are like, that's the trail we do every single time, because the major payoff is this petroglyph panel. And, but it's definitely not one of these flip flops and vibes kind of trail. It's like you got to plan
right
and make sure you have all your ducks in a row and you can physically take on this challenge. Kind of the same with the Weather Rail Mesa. It has different hours, different vibes, different things like that. And I know there's one main road going into the park that everyone takes. And then when you get to kind of like the far view area, it splits off into 2 trails.
Right.
It's the Mesa Ruins and then the Weather Rail Trail that takes you to the back part of the park, which is a totally different experience and has all kinds of different things.
To me, that's a whole different day.
That's like
These are 2 different days.
What a wonderful...
you can't do it all in one day.
That's a great experience. It's like a 2-day park hopper at Disney. You can just get 2 different experiences right there in one national park, right?
Right.
Keep it right here on Scale Travel Show.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-host, Amy.
Hello.
We're in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. Quick shout out to Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. They've supported us from the beginning. And I said, we're going to do season 4. And they said, really? And I said, come on, bro. And he was like, all right, man.
Stop it.
We love Trent and Lisa. Thank you so much to those guys at Diamondback. Guys, I know about transversing. Is that a word?
Sure.
Traversing? Is that a word?
Yeah, that sounds better.
Okay, all right. Traversing the land, knowing the landscapes, all of that. I don't know where I was going with that, so I need to stop. We're chatting about Mesa Verde National Park and some know before you goes, maybe a first time if you've never been there, to help you prepare, because you get to, you remember when you were young taking trips and you're just like, I'll just make it up as I go.
Yeah.
And you just, whatever. You make plans with your friends. You don't even know what you're doing. Plans where we're going to meet up at some time. And you just went out and you just had your evening or you just had your trip or whatever with your friends. And then as you get older, you're like, dude, I need to know.
Yeah.
Like, where am I going to sleep? Like, I know this is 6 months away, but where am I going to sleep? What am I going to eat? I can't be caught.
Which I think
riding with people I don't want to ride with.
I think spontaneous travel is great. And this trip for us was a bit more of that type of spontaneous planning from day to day. But because of that, we did miss out on some things. So yeah. I feel like if you know you're going to be in the southwestern side of Colorado, you should plan to stop at Mesa Verde. And to do that and to fully see everything, you need to spend at least a night in the area so that you get 2 full days of this park, or at least 1 full day of this park before you have to get on the road like we did.
Yeah.
So where you sleep is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it does. And where you stay affects how much of the Mesa Verde you can actually do comfortably, especially given the drive time into the park that we've mentioned several times, right? 45 minutes just to one of the main things from the gate, right? So now we want to kind of compare in-park camping, in-park lodging, and where you might want to stay in nearby towns with clear pros and cons, because all the things like your schedule, your budget, your travel style, it's all going to affect how you approach this, right? So inside the park, there are really only 2 options. One is a campground, one is a lodge. And we went there again in the off season. both of these things were closed, and they stay closed, I believe, through winter.
Right.
And open back up in the springtime. But one of them, I think, is definitely something I would check out as far as the lodge.
Yes.
The was it Farview Lodge? The Farview Lodge, where it sits on the main road and what it overlooks, we saw from just our spot. That looks like a gorgeous experience.
Oh, yeah. It had a fantastic view because it basically sits up high and is on an overlook itself.
Yeah.
And so you get to see this valley below it. It looked beautiful. We actually parked and got out and walked around a little bit so we could just experience the view from there.
Yeah.
So I think if you are lucky enough to get accommodations in the lodge, take it.
Yeah. This is the Farview is located deeper within the park. It's about 15 miles from the main entrance, and it's intentionally built. It's one of those like look outside lodges, right? You're there because you want the sunsets, you want the views and vistas and all of the other words. And you're not really content with sitting in front of a TV. I think it's built that way from what we could see. I mean, floor to ceiling glass. And like you said, built on the, on the near a cliff edge or whatever. So like your breakfast and your lunch and your dinner, if you're around that area, even if you stay in the lodge, you're going to get this beautiful, and it looks right down into the valleys.
Right.
Just incredible. Now, we didn't necessarily pass by the Moorfield campground, but I imagine it's a little bit closer to the main entrance. It's about 4 miles in. It's one of the first ones once you're on the main road. You're going to see it. You're going to pass it. It's impossible to miss it.
We saw the turnoff for it. We just didn't take the road to the campground.
But it supports both tents and RVs, okay, and a limited number of full hookup sites. So if you want that experience, you also have that. But those, especially during peak seasons, man, they fill up quick. You got to get to those early because, you can take your RV in, makes it less of a commute, but the spots are really limited. So you got to hop on them as soon as you can.
Yeah. If you are unable to stay in the park for whatever reason, there are a few towns that are pretty close. Cortez, I would say, is probably your best option. It's about 20 minutes outside of the park, and they do have quite a bit of lodging options, Holiday Inns, Baymont Inns, all those names that you know and recognize, they have them there. Plus there's the Airbnb, VRBO options, and campgrounds also in Cortez too. So if you want to stay close, but not necessarily be in the park, Cortez is the town I would look at.
Yeah. Another option, has a little bit less options than maybe Cortez would be Mancos. Mancos is the opposite direction. I think maybe a few minutes from the park entrance itself, but it is probably going to have, there are like loose campgrounds that aren't associated with the towns. There's like the Target Tree campground that's a little bit further east than that. And then you really kind of get to Durango, which isn't all that far away. So if you want a little bit bigger, a little bit more options as far as like if you got your family with you, the kids need something to do, or you want better food options, things like that. Durango isn't that far away.
Yeah, I think for us it was about a 45-minute drive, and that was even with there being some traffic on the road getting to Mesa Verde.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you do have, again, depending on your budget and time schedule and how you like to travel, you do have all kinds of options. The thing that you will see on many signs, I saw it when we went into the visitor center. Now, the visitor center is before, you can visit it before you even go inside the park.
Yeah.
You hit this little roundabout and you go off to the left and you can go right to the visitor center before you ever go inside the park itself.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Which was really nice, but I saw signs as soon as we walked in, like starting, I want to say in April or May, like everything there fills up very, very quickly. So it's one of those parks you got to plan accordingly.
They're telling you to plan early.
Plan early, right? Keep it right here on Scale Travel Show.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-park explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're talking about beautiful Mesa Verde National Park. Kind of had a little problem at the end there. I mean, I was getting so caught up telling people being excited about the national park that I forgot, like, we got to go to break. A little awkward exchange. And I was like, I don't know what we're doing here. Let's keep talking about the parks, though. The park is designed, I think. Mesa Verde is kind of designed for that overlook storytelling experience. It has, you ascend high in elevation and you get to see these valleys, and we've talked several times now about the cliff dwellings and how the ancestral pueblos, like they built their civilizations, they built their towns, a lot of them into the side of these cliffs. This UNESCO World Heritage Site and everything.
Yeah.
So some of these, yes, you will park and take a trail, and it'll open up. You'll see these different experiences. But some at these overlooks, you just park on the side of the road. You get out of your car. A couple of feet later, boom, you're looking over a valley. You're looking right into some cliff dwellings.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, and you're trying to make it all make sense in your messed up modern world brain. Like, none of this makes sense to me, but it's so beautiful and it's so simple and so complex at the same time.
It looks like, and this is going to sound very naive, it looks like something you would see in a movie, like Indiana Jones type movie. Like he's exploring some ancient civilization, which really is what it is. And there's not just the cliff dwellings. There were the pit houses that were like dug into the ground. There were the other ones, the Farview houses we talked about, that were actual brick structures, some of them down into the ground, some of them that were freestanding, and a few of them you can walk around. Some of them are roped off, but there's so much to see. And as you said, we were driving down one of the main roads, and every little bit is another lookout. So we just found ourselves stopping like every mile or so to get out and look at something new, and all of them were fascinating.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Some of the, I guess, like the road experiences where you can turn out a little bit, they're not even official like lookouts, but you can pull over, let faster traffic go by or something like that on busier days. And all of a sudden you're just looking down into the valley because that's how it's all built and everything. So if you do that, if you're one of those people, like, I want to see every single lookout, again, you're going to need more time because there's a ton of them, right? One of the first ones you really kind of get to is the Mancos Valley overlook. And we didn't hit the Mancos Valley overlook until our way out. That was where we decided, like, we're going to come back here and we're going to have lunch.
Yeah.
And because a lot of the official lookouts have picnic places, picnic benches and tables and stuff. So you can kind of sit and relax and get a snack or something like that. And I'll tell you, to this day, like, it was something we totally didn't plan, but we had brought sandwich stuff with us because we were on a road trip, right? And we stopped there, and it was one of my top 10 most gorgeous lunches I've ever had in my entire life.
It was beautiful.
Just on the side of the road on this, on the Mancos Valley overlook, because they had some clouds rolling in and the sun was cutting through them and it was hitting the valley below. So you had the sunbeams all hitting out, and you could see for miles.
It was beautiful.
Miles and miles.
It was beautiful. It was a bit chilly because you are on an overlook. The wind was picking up with the storm, but lovely little lunch we had there. And like you said, we brought our own picnic with us, but a nice little covered area with picnic tables, and another family joined us while we were there.
Yeah, it's one of those fun make friends experiences, right? Probably, I will argue this is probably the most popular stop in the park as far as overlooks and lookouts and things like that, but that's at the peak. That's Park Point. Park Point is I guess
it's the highest elevation
stop that you can get to, and it's the one that you can see over, If you look to your right, you see over...
You see a couple of different states.
A couple of different states here. You look over to your left, a couple of different states over there. It's one of those places, and it has a real live working...
fire
like
lookout.
a ranger tower, fire tower, whatever. You can't go inside of it because it is a real working one. But it is that place where they have different like little small trails that go off in different directions. And you get some probably the most gorgeous photos you will find in any parts of the park right there at Park Point. But it is definitely one of the more popular spots. They have restrooms and all of that stuff right there, picnic tables, like I said.
I think you have to stop there. I mean, you're not seeing all the different dwellings, but you're getting that incredible vista view up there.
I mean, we mentioned several times already the Far View Lodge area and the Far View houses. So stop there because all of these places, again, are kind of built on the side of dwellings and or cliff dwellings and stuff. So you're going to get beautiful sights. But like, we took the Mesa Ruins Road. So this goes and takes you down. They have the Mesa Top Loop. This is where you're going to find the pit houses, the houses that are kind of built into the ground that they've preserved and uncovered. You're going to get a lot of really great overlook and scenic experiences just on this one loop itself, including like the Fire Temple, the Oak Tree House, the Sun Point View, all the Mesa Top sites, all of these things that kind of, I mean, they blew me away every time. And some of them, like I said, you park on the side of the road. 5 steps later, boom, all of a sudden you got this vista.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, some of them you don't even leave the road. The sidewalk is just extended so you can step over and see. And that's how most of these were. There was one, the Spruce Tower House, I think it was called. That's a little bit farther down the same road, but we did park and you walked down a bit and we were kind of like, this better be worth it, right? Because all these others, you just hop out of the car and you're there on the sidewalk taking a photo. But we walked down and then when we got to the end of it, I will say it was really worth it because you're kind of above the dwelling looking down on it, and it was really neat. I think that's the closest we got to any of them because of how the trail ended at this overlook. So it was really, really neat. I highly recommend doing the Spruce Tower. Spruce Tree Tower? Something like that.
Okay, good. She recommends you do something. On the Mesa Top Loop, like, you also have these moments where maybe you stop at the Oak Tree House or the Fire Temple. And like I said, you're looking right across the valley to these cliff dwellings that are built in. And from a distance, you get a better idea, I think, as you look at to famous places like the Sun Temple that are across the valley. And you see kind of the bigger scope of how they were carving everything out and how they were kind of moved around. Because at one point, we were like, how did they get up and down? Because, ladders, but some of these cliff dwellings, like,
there were multi-levels.
There's multi-level. And then all of a sudden, like, you're looking through, I think your camera or something like that. And you're like, oh, there's holes.
Yeah.
There's holes like, for your feet and hands and everything.
Yeah.
And they would just climb to different places. And again, that opens up a new layer in my mind of going, I'm so naive. Because I'm like, how are they getting around? And obviously they're climbing.
Yeah.
They're doing these things.
And in one of them, we were reading the placard there, and it was saying that one space wasn't even a home. They felt it was more of like a community center where they would hold ceremonies and, community events and meetings. And it just makes you start thinking of these people in a totally different way. And a few of the dwellings, they had commented on the placards that they would be used and abandoned, and hundreds of years later, another civilization would come and build on top of it. So these dwellings were used repeatedly by different civilizations, and it's just fascinating to think about that and the history behind what you're seeing.
Yeah, and I can't get over the scope of it because, like, you're like, okay, I get the pit houses and all that. And you're seeing like individual family life. And then all of a sudden you see this, like, these community centers where everybody would just come together. And I'm like, dude, if you left your keys in your house and you got to walk through this valley again,
and then climb down the side of a cliff.
It would take days, right? Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. Find us online, unscaled.travelshow.com. We put all of our past episodes, any interviews that we do, right there on our website. So you can earmark these episodes, save them for later whenever you do plan your trip to Mesa Verde National Park. I'm here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
Looking at Mesa Verde as a whole, did you have any favorite places? Did you have any favorite experiences?
Yeah, I think when we stopped at the museum and we walked down, and I can't remember what that one was called, the cliff dwelling that we saw right there, but that one I think was probably the most impressive. And again, you're parking at a building that says it's a museum. We're like, oh, we don't want to go in the museum, but we want to go take this little trail behind it. And that was... It was the first real cliff dwelling we saw, but just the scale and the magnitude of it was incredible.
Yeah, right there, man. And that is where like the Spruce Tree Terrace Cafe and like the Spruce Tree Trailhead and all of that is. And like you said, I mean, we stopped before at the Farview houses in the Coyote Village, and you're like, oh, wow, okay. You're trying to put together and piece together in your mind, like, how does everyday life look like here? And it doesn't prepare you. We parked, we got out and we walked, and it's like you come around this corner and all of a sudden these just amazing cliff dwellings are there.
Right.
And I was just like, I remember you and I just standing there not saying anything to each other. We were just like, what? Like,
yeah.
It just blew my mind. And I don't know why. I was totally prepared for it. We looked at the map.
Yeah, I know.
They had pictures, but like the pictures don't do it justice.
Seeing it in person. And I'm looking at the map right now. That one is the Spruce Tree House overlook. Okay. It's directly down from the museum. So you park at the museum. It's a little bitty walk and there's an overlook. And then that's the trail that we tried to go on that was closed, but we wanted to take it. Gotcha. The other one I was mentioning is the Square Tower. And that was the other one. Yeah. So Spruce Tree and Square Tower, two different overlooks, both of them totally worth it. I would stop at both of those again. Absolutely.
And, before we end the episode, we talked about lodging and all of that. Now, food is a natural part of, especially if you're going to spend days in and around the park. Inside the park, there are a few options. But again, everything is seasonal in these parks. Right there by the Mesa Verde, I mentioned the Spruce Tree Terrace Cafe. There are a few more options within the park. There are, I think there's like 2 or 3 other little cafes, especially maybe around the Farview Lodge and places like that. On the backside of the park, I think there's another cafe area. But you got to plan accordingly. If you're going to go in the off season, just know that these are probably not going to be open. So you're going to have to figure something out. And one of the great things about our national parks is you can bring a cooler in.
Right.
We had a cooler. We had a cooler full of drinks and food.
Yeah. I would say even if you go during the peak season, I would still bring your own food because like we said, this park is huge. You don't know how far you're going to be from the cafe when you're hungry. And like there weren't a lot of people there, but I could see how this could easily get filled up because the few parking lots we came across, I would say were half full, and it was first thing on a Sunday morning in off season. Yeah. And there was already a decent amount of people there. So plan accordingly, bring snacks, bring water. Yeah. If you have little ones, definitely bring some stuff that they can carry around and eat, but also be respectful of the park. Yeah. Carry out everything you carried in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's another like a good point you brought up. The pro tips planning ahead, you are going up in elevation. The water and everything changes, the water situation. You need more than that one little thing of Aquafina. Okay. Bring some actual bottles of water, something reusable water, hopefully water cans or something. Little ones, especially if you're doing trails, bring some trail snacks. people probably overestimate their abilities and underestimate how strenuous some of these hikes can be that we mentioned. So bring all those things appropriately, hats, things, all of that nature. Check ahead. I wasn't too sure. We had our dog with us, and he went on some of the paved trails, like around the spruce tree overlook, where they say there was a sign and there was a dog baggy area. They're like, just pick up after your animals. Absolutely do that. Don't be one of those people that doesn't do that. If I see you, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to throw it at you. But
you sound like my mom now.
Cliff dwellings or not, I'm going to throw some poo at you. But be respectful, but also check ahead, because animals aren't allowed on every single trail, just like in any national park.
Right.
This one I think is a little more friendly to our little fur babies, but still check ahead, be respectful. And just because you're there and you paid an entrance fee doesn't mean you own the place now.
Right.
So
Agree.
do all of that.
Yeah. I was surprised that there were so many dog waste stations there, and that it did seem to be extremely dog friendly, because we have been to some national parks that say they welcome dogs, but then there are, no dog signs everywhere.
Yeah.
The other thing,
that was a great Smoky National. Sorry.
The other thing I noticed was they had quite a few restrooms. For being such a large park, I feel like we saw restrooms fairly regularly.
Especially at all the popular stops. The Park Point and all the major overlooks all had restrooms, at least
and they
a
were
single restroom.
Pretty clean, but again, first thing in the morning on a Sunday.
So. Get there early. Use the bathroom early. By the evening, I don't know about all of that. But yeah, I did notice that, and I guess that's maybe occupational hazard of what we do with this show, that I start noticing restrooms.
An age hazard.
I always have to know where the bathrooms are. Always. That is. I wish that was a joke. I'm laughing more out of embarrassment than anything else. Like we said earlier in the show, treat your tickets, kind of like concert tickets. Now, screenshot the ones. As you get higher up in elevation, farther from the visitor center, the entrance and everything, you might lose cell service. You might lose, there's definitely no Wi-Fi in a lot of areas.
Right.
So if you have the cliff dwelling tour experiences, which I highly recommend, screenshot those tickets, print them out, do whatever you need to do, but make sure you have them on you in some kind of semi-physical form, because you're not going to be able to pull them up in every single area.
Right.
And just understand, again, it's hard to explain to people the grasp of like drive time between different areas. Some of these areas, especially on like the Mesa Ruins Loop, are pretty close together. You'll like drive for 30 seconds and you'll hop out and you'll see the next thing. But the drive time between the Mesa Verde and like the visitor center up front and the main entrance and exit and everything, I mean, that's about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And there were at least a couple of hairpin turns, like very sharp turns up in the mountains where it's very close together. So if you're kind of like me and you are a wimp about driving at high elevation, I'm so wimpy when it comes to that, man. You need to understand, and if someone else has been like you, I let you drive, and you were like,
no,
you were whipping
I was
through
not.
There,
I was not.
You're
but
if
you're one of those people that likes to pull a really long RV, I think there were a few places that they had limits on the length of the RV because of those hairpin turns. So keep that in mind.
And I believe that's why they have the Moorfield like campground up front. It's 4 miles in, because some places they explicitly say like you cannot bring RVs up here.
Yeah, it's just too tight.
It would be impossible, to get around.
It did have a little fun tunnel when we were first getting into the park that you drive through, and we thought, oh, we're going to have this really cool reveal when we come out, and it didn't. But but I will say after that was when we got to that first vista that totally made up for it. So there are some really fun aspects to this park that they don't even advertise, but like, just driving through a tunnel, that was fun. Going super, super high in elevation to that fire lookout station, that was really neat too, to like see it and see an actual working ranger station right there. Yeah. Stuff that it's not really, I would say, what they advertise as an attraction at the park, but it's still just a really fun thing to do.
And speaking of like those kind of specific points in the park point, and then even the tunnel, I can see in our day and age, those kind of getting backed up because people are all trying to do the same thing, like the tunnel experience. And even the tunnel was a little bit tighter.
It was more
so,
narrow.
you know, not a whole lot of room for error there when just driving around. But, you know, just be patient when you go into our national parks. Take time. Don't think this is not one of those parks you're just going to drive through in 30 minutes.
No, not at
see
all.
Things. 30 minutes, you ain't going to get even to the main things. So
We thought we would spend an hour or two there. I think we spent about 5 hours there, and we still only saw not even half of everything.
Thanks for joining us on Unscaled Travel Show. Check us out on unscaledtravelshow.com. Later.